Pauline Chambless and her husband tried to have a biological baby for 14 long years. Years that come with a lot of sorrow and disappointment. But after eventually deciding to use a sperm donor, their situation didn't improve. In fact, decades later, Pauline discovered the process hadn't exactly gone as planned.
Hello, wonderful people. I'm Jamie Buck from WonderBot. And here is...
Mom uses a sperm donor only to find her doctor's twisted trick.
Before we begin, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos.
Pauline Chambless and her husband struggled with infertility. After over a decade of failing to conceive along with several taxing miscarriages, they could no longer bear the disappointment. So in 1984, the couple walked into Dr. Kim McMorrie's office in Nacogdoches, Texas. He was the fertility doctor in our area. You couldn't have asked for a more caring, polite, likable person and doctor, Pauline said. She felt comfortable, confident, and safe working with Dr. McMorrie's. It was safe to say Pauline and her womb were in the best hands. It seemed that way anyway. Just like any alternative methods for having a child, whether it be adoption, IVF, or utilizing a sperm donor, there was a ton of paperwork. Pauline and her husband filled out a questionnaire regarding their preferred donor features, including hair color, height, and ethnicity. Before they knew it, the couple was paired with hand-selected anonymous sperm donors that matched their desired characteristics. Pauline endured 2.5 years of artificial insemination appointments, praying and hoping a pregnancy would stick. While this led to a handful of pregnancies, they all ended in miscarriages after about 6 weeks. It was devastating, Pauline stated. Over the course of the long, draining process, she got closer and closer to Dr. McMorrie's, as he was always there for emotional support. Over that period of time, you build up trust for someone who appears to be doing his very best to try to help you conceive. I put my faith in him, explained Pauline, and in 1986, a miracle happened. A pregnancy finally stuck, and Dr. McMorrie's was there for Pauline through all nerve-wracking 9 months. As soon as I got to the hospital in labor, he came and stayed by my side through delivery until an hour after Jessica was born, Pauline detailed. Jessica was born beautiful and healthy, and Pauline and her husband never wanted to keep any secrets from her. Therefore, Jessica grew up knowing she was conceived with help from a donor. So, as she got older, the curious kid wondered who her biological daddy-o was. Mom was completely honest, and it made me feel special. I knew how hard she tried to have me, Jessica told the New York Post. The 80s, 90s, and early 2000s passed the family by, and in 2020, a 33-year-old Jessica Stavina was determined to get some answers. She also shared everything she knew about her biological father, that he was a tall medical student with red hair and loved music. I'd often wonder if one day I'd meet him. The medical spa manager continued. She soon realized that there was more to the mystery than just her father's identity. Did Jessica have any half-siblings? Did they know who their father was? Was there a genetic explanation for her own rare medical issues? Her burning questions only got more intense, and she finally did something about it in January 2020. She took a DNA test, thrilled to finally have some concrete answers. When the results came back on February 23rd, Jessica was so ecstatic that she called 67-year-old Mama Pauline. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it, she relayed. My husband had Mom on speakerphone, and I clicked to see my relatives, Jessica said. Though her results weren't as crystal clear as Lizzo's, turns out Jessica has 3 half-siblings, 2 sisters and a brother. Jessica was practically bursting at the seams with excitement as she immediately hopped on Facebook and sent her half-siblings friend requests. It wasn't long before she received a message from her long-lost half-sister, Eve Wiley. Hi, do you know the details of our birth story? Was Dr. McMorrie's your mom's doctor? Eve's message read. While Jessica was a bit puzzled, she never could have expected what Eve wrote next. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but he is also our biological father. As you could imagine, Jessica was shell-shocked. What was Eve talking about? How could that be? After reading the message aloud to Pauline, who was still on speakerphone, she was silent. Pauline managed to shout, "What?" I just thought, no, that's absolutely impossible. I could have never have agreed for my doctor to donate sperm, Pauline explained. Shockingly, it was possible as they were victims of fertility fraud. Indiana University law professor Jody Lindy Madeira defines fertility fraud as illicit inseminations, an intentional act that occurs when a doctor knowingly uses his own sperm to inseminate a female patient without her consent. Eve learned about it in 2018. She and her own mother had a very similar story to Pauline and Jessica's, and her DNA test revealed some shocking information about her donor. When she realized her donor was actually Dr. McMorris, she confronted him. He wound up sending her a bizarre letter in response. He explained that he had purposely mixed his sperm with other donors in order to improve her mother's chances of getting pregnant. Eve's mother denied claims that Dr. McMorris got her permission to do so. Eve testified to a Senate panel in April 2019, and that September it officially became a sex assault for a healthcare professional to use human sperm eggs or embryos from an unofficial donor in Texas. Without Eve's nudging for the passage of Senate Bill 1259, it may have never happened. Jody Lindy Madeira explained that when cases such as these emerge decades later, way after statutes of limitations have ended and documents have been destroyed, pressing charges isn't an easy task. The professor even filed a complaint against Dr. McMorris with the Texas Medical Board, but sadly nothing came about. To give birth to your baby in front of your husband while the doctor delivering her is the biological father? It blows my mind that he thought that was okay, Pauline stated. It breaks my heart that he wanted to find her biological father for so long. Now it's just a hardship to her. She didn't consent to this. Seeing his picture, I think, how could he? Who made him God? I just can't get past the anger and hurt from my mom, Jessica said in frustration. The mother and daughter felt anger and sorrow for each other, clearly both empathetic individuals. After doing more digging, Jessica also found that she has a total of 7 half-siblings, and she only expects that number to grow as more people take DNA tests. Though Jessica's DNA test led to a sinister discovery, she doesn't regret it one bit. As for Pauline, she's just eternally grateful to have her sweet Jessica, and stated she wouldn't change that for anything. But while this family came to terms with this violation, another was making appalling discoveries about their parents. Little JJ Magina lived a seemingly normal childhood life in Cleveland, Ohio, alongside his single father. His upbringing was fulfilling and fruitful, with many fond memories of his early days. However, he would soon find himself question all of this. He was born in Alabama to parents Jonathan Magina and his girlfriend, who at this point will remain nameless. Though they never married, they were both dedicated to raising their little man. For a while at least. According to JJ's father, his mysterious girlfriend dipped on the family when JJ was just 5 years old. Jonathan would raise his son solo for the rest of his childhood. For a fresh start, they moved to Cleveland, Ohio. For a while, things were a dream. JJ was killer at school, and he received straight A's and blessed Cleveland High School with his athletic abilities. People loved JJ. How could they not? He was a model child. When senior year rolled around, JJ got to applying to colleges, ready to take the plunge into his bright future. But after the school counselor reviewed his paperwork, something seemed fuzzy regarding his identity. Seeing that JJ's college applications required his father's tax information, a dark secret would unknowingly be revealed. The covert father had a lot of explaining to do. Who was he really? When a school officer noticed an issue regarding JJ's social security number, said counselor became an internet super sleuth, discovering something beyond upsetting. The social security number belonged to a boy named Julian Hernandez. As it turned out, the name Julian Hernandez was cited on a missing persons report. JJ Magina's father, Jonathan Magina, was really a man named Bobby Hernandez. Things were beginning to add up, and it wasn't pretty. When confronted, Jonathan, aka Bobby Hernandez, fessed up. The story that painted JJ's mother as a deadbeat runaway was a complete and utter lie. It was actually Bobby who was the runaway. They say love makes you crazy, but this took the cake. See, in the summer of 2002, JJ's mother asked Bobby to babysit their little one. Since Bobby and JJ's mother both lived in the same Vestavia Hills apartment complex, this situation was convenient. This was the day that changed everything. Little did she know, That would be the last time she'd see her son. Bobby then carried out his plan to kidnap his own son. He packed everything up, emptied his bank account, and booked it. Julian's mother was left with a measly note and no son. On August 28, 2002, she reported her son as missing. Though they were only a 10-hour drive away from Julian's mother, she had no clue where they went, which was part of Bobby's obvious scheming. Bobby created new pseudonyms for him and his son, Jonathan and J.J. Magina. Though authorities immediately began a massive manhunt for little Julian, a boy with brown hair, big brown eyes, a mild stutter, and a left cheek dimple. Alas, even with the multitude of posters and internet broadcasting, the search was ill-fated. Julian's mother and her family were horrified, distraught, and understandably beyond enraged. They just wanted their sweet Julian back. When the two arrived in Cleveland, Ohio, Bobby picked up a factory job. While Bobby's plot was illegal, he did take good care of his JJ. But that didn't change the fact that Julian never knew his own mother. The search for Julian went on for years, his poor mother desperate for answers. After several tips led to zilch, success felt further and further away. Police suspected Julian was taken by a non-custodial parent. When 2015 rolled around, however, things looked up. Thanks to Julian's school counselor, the truth was finally revealed. Understandably, Julian was bewildered by the whole thing, as his whole life he thought his mother abandoned him. That was far from the truth. Bobby Hernandez was taken into custody and was arrested on November 2, 2015. It was only weeks until Bobby was indicted on charges of kidnapping, interference with custody, forgery, and tampering with records. He did create a fake birth certificate for Julian after all. Julian's mother's attorney explained that Bobby had committed the crime as a cruel form of revenge against Julian's mother for ending their relationship. And you think you've got relationship problems. And Julian's maternal grandmother didn't hold back her rage, as she suggested Bobby's sentence be as long as our suffering has been. Yikes, Granny missed out on her precious grandson's life, and she wouldn't forget it. Ralph DeFranco, Bobby Hernandez's court-ordered attorney, defended Bobby's fatherly intentions, making a case for his responsible actions during Julian's upbringing. Bobby apparently admitted to DeFranco that he's ashamed of the whole situation. Considering Julian had a lovely childhood with his father, he actually begged the judge not to send Bobby to jail. He even called Bobby the perfect father. Well, we might have gone with different wording. I'm not angry at my father in the slightest. I remember that he used to ask me if I ever committed a terrible crime, would you still love me? I still do, even after learning everything, Julian said. Bobby pleaded guilty to 2 counts of kidnapping, 2 counts of interference of custody, 1 count of forgery, and 10 counts of tampering with records. Inevitably, Bobby Hernandez was sentenced to 4 years of prison. While Julian aimed to reconnect with his mother, he just wanted his life to go back to normal. Julian didn't ask for this bomb to erupt his life, and he amazingly loved his father just the same despite the damage done. It was purely unconditional. Thankfully, this story had a happy ending. Well, sort of. Julian was alive and well and was finally reuniting with his loving birth mother.